and welcome to the OverShadow Shadowcast with your hostess. This week it's Abigail. Tommy, again, can't be with us because of the situation the world is in, and might last a little bit longer, according to the news this morning. Trying not to think about it. Before we start, like I said, Tommy is not going to be able to record his... we're going to record this week because he's quite busy with his uni work and things like that, so he just won't be able to do this. So I think we can let him off with that. Possibly. Maybe. I'll leave that for you guys to decide. So he's not been playing much. I don't believe he's actually really been playing anything. I can hear buzzing. I don't know if you guys can. I think someone's decided to do some yard work or some garden work. Tommy will probably have a go at me for saying yard. So sorry if you guys can hear that. There's not much I can do about that. Windows are closed. That's all I can do. So I've not been playing much this week. I tried to play a little bit of Madness? Alice Return to Madness, I think that's what it's called. But the truth is it was kind of just like messing with me a little bit, so I decided kind of take a break from it. I think like much of the world, I've not been in the best of headspace recently, so I've not really been playing anything. I've been trying to do other things that are actually keeping me active, and let's face it, gaming will not keep me active. Might keep me mentally active, but it's not keeping me physically active. So the first story I have for you, this is the story that Tommy wanted me to discuss last week. However, between him posting the story on the agenda and me recording, there was not a lot of time because he had pretty much put this on about 10 hours before I was going to record. However, most of that time I'm sleeping because it was nighttime. So I didn't have a lot of time in between recording and actually being able to do some research on it. But this is regarding the new consoles for PlayStation and Microsoft, which are the PS5 and the the Xbox Series X. And I apologize if at any point I get that confused with just saying Xbox or something like that. Please know that this is what I am talking about. Now, an insider for Kotaku, which is a gaming website, got some interesting news. Jason Schreier, yet again another name I cannot pronounce, who is also their co-host for Split Screen, has been chatting to developers who have claimed that even though all the specs point to the new Xbox being more powerful, the PS5 is actually not that lacking in power. Schreier's sources are normally very trustworthy and reliable, so we can pretty much go that this is probably going to be a given. A lot of it being down to how Sony are marketing the new PlayStation. They seem to be putting far more effort into talking about the revolutionary hardware that this console is going to have. However, Microsoft are really only talking about how much more powerful their console is going to be and not much else. And I suppose at the end of the day, we will have to wait realistically probably about a year before we get any real information from the people who matter most, the players. But let's face it, loads of YouTubers, loads of game tubers, Let's Plays and things like that, they'll be the ones that are going to give us kind of all the insights because they'll probably have each of the consoles and be able to give us a better idea of what's going on. But at present of recording, these two consoles are still due for the release at the end of 2020, but with the current world affairs, we can't be certain. So there's a good chance that possibly these consoles may get pushed back. Some people are saying that maybe what's going on in the world might just push it back because people won't be able to work on the promotional material all that well, but then again, those of these things are kind of planned a few years in advance. Also, if you're going to release it, time when people are still going to be celebrating at the end of the year is probably going to be the best time to release them, so I think that's probably still going to go ahead. But there are some who are insinuating that it might get pushed back to kind of like the beginning of next year. I don't think that's a realistic thing that's going to happen. So, like I say, loads of people are saying that the developers are saying that the kind of hardware that's been put into this console is going to be one of the best. It's going to be one of the best consoles that have ever kind of been made. The detailing that you can see in these games, and it's really genuine, just amazing how far gaming's come in the last few years. But that's what people are saying, that maybe the Microsoft might be a little bit more powerful, but it's not going to be monumentally powerful. You know, it's It's not exactly like PlayStation's like a Ford car and the Xbox is going to be an F1 racer. They're not saying it's that different. So yeah, that even though that's like all the specs, like everything on paper is pointing to the Xbox being a far superior console, people are saying that the hardware that is being put into the PS5 is a lot better, and it is almost as powerful as the Xbox itself. But because Sony have been pretty much kind of just talking about graphics and all this kind of stuff, the power has sort of not been mentioned as much, and people are saying, oh, that's kind of a missed opportunity for Sony, because that's leaving Xbox to say, we're more powerful. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of people kind of favor the power side of things more than anything else, when really you do need a healthy balance, and I think that's what the PS5 is going to have, but only time will tell. The proof will be in the pudding, and it looks like it's going to be Christmas pudding before. I've actually been outside. I'd like to mention that. I've been outside. I went for a walk the other day and I got many dirty stares, because they're like, why are you outside? I'm like, because everyone's allowed out an hour a day or once a day, so stop staring at me. It's amazing how many people aren't actually giving you the social distancing thing. Our joggers like passing within a foot of you, breathing incredibly heavily. It's like, dude, turn your face away at least if you're passing somebody. So I'd just like to mention that. But yeah, you can totally tell that this is one of Tommy's stories, because like he'd probably have a lot more in depth. He'd be able to tell you a lot more than I am, but that's a story he wished for me to discuss. So I'm going to move on to one of my most favorite topics of all time. It is Bethesda. Fun times, fun times. Now, last week I saw reports that players in 76, much like reality, were stockpiling toilet paper and selling it off for extortionate prices. This was a genuine thing. I saw screenshots of people in 76 stockpiling toilet paper. And they say, was it art replicates life, or what was it? So something along those lines. I'll probably remember the phrase at the end of this. Yeah, that was kind of a mad thing that was going on. Art imitates life, that's it. I genuinely saw somebody on eBay who was selling a pack of, I think, 9 toilet rolls for about £32, and the bidding was only going up. I thought that was pretty disgusting. So, 76 had been due the Wastelands update. However, with employees of Bethesda now having to work from home, like many around the world are, this has been delayed. The update would have possibly made this a far more playable game. Possibly. Because as we all know, it's broken to heck. I remember when me and Tommy were playing this, he was able to see things, even though we were both in the same instance and playing the, like multiplayer, whatever it was, he was able to see like dogs running around, I wasn't, or I was able to see dogs running around and he wasn't, or we were able to see different things than the other person. I'm like, well, if you're playing the same instance, you're playing the same game, you're playing a multiplayer game, you're playing a campaign together, you should be able to see the exact same things, because otherwise it's totally useless. Especially if one of your party starts getting attacked by something. If you can't see it, you can't do anything about it. So the update would have been introducing romance options, NPCs, and Fallout 3 style dialogue, new factions, and quests, etc. Those along those kind of lines. Now, originally, it was going to be launched in 2019. However, in October 2019, they were going to push it back to the beginning of this year, 2020. So this new update was going to come out within the first week of April, but it's now been pushed back to the second week of April. Now, this delay is due to them having to test it out before it is unleashed onto the players. And I use that term deliberately, unleashed. I don't think we can call them out on that as, yay, they actually want to test something before it comes out. But because everybody's been working from home, it just means it's been pushed back. It's been pushed back by about a week. So it's not like it's been pushed back by like 3 months, which I think is actually pretty good. But they are having trouble finding testers, being able to test it out. So that's one of the reasons why this has been pushed back by quite a bit. Well, I say quite a bit. I said it's a week and that's about it. But it's going to be interesting to see what this is actually going to do, because I know a lot of people were crying out for NPCs, because if you're just wandering around a wasteland, it's not really doing much. It's more interesting when you actually have somebody that you can play off. I know that I've at least learned that much. And apparently Fallout 3 had really good dialogue. I think Tommy was saying that at one point, that the dialogue was pretty good. Because I think he's still playing through Fallout 3. But we'll see how that goes. So the last story, and it's a happy, happy story, that actually put a smile on my face when I read the headline. So hopefully it's going to make some of you smile. Now, some of you know that I am in fact more of a film buff than I am a game buff. Hopefully I have made that very clear to y'all, because I still have know nothing about games. I still don't understand half of it. I've been trying to communicate with Tommy, asking about, is this a good monitor and things like that to be able to use. And he's been very slow getting back to me on that, but I can, I'll let that slide. So this is a happy cross between the two worlds of gaming and film. Now, if I said the name Don Bluth, would you guess what it is? Go ahead, I'll wait. That's right, it's about Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair. Sometimes I listen to this back and I think I'm talking quite slowly, but I'm actually talking really fast, and I apologize if I'm doing that. But, so yeah, it's about Dragon's Lair, and that it's going to be made into a live-action movie? But a live-action movie by Netflix. So all good stuff there. So some of you may know Bluth's name from such movies as An American Tail, The Land Before Time, and his most famous, The Secret of Nim. So just to name a few of his movies. So he is an exceptional animator and storyteller who has also tried his hand at video games, Dragon's Lair being the most noteworthy one. Its main character was Dirk the Daring. I've written this down and I still can't read it. A knight on a quest to save Princess Daphne from the evil clutches of the evil wizard and dragon. I tried to look up their names and that's literally all it just kept coming up with. It was released in the 80s and gained a fast reputation as being one of the most difficult. Most games work on sequences where the player, if good enough, can memorize and anticipate the next obstacle. So like it works on a sequence. Bad guy will appear from A, which will cause bad guy C to appear, or bad guy B will appear, then cause bad guy E to appear, or whatever. Something along those lines. Like it's a repetition. This one, it was a bit different. There were dozens upon dozens of sequences, dozens upon dozens of different ways of repetitions. It was crazy. Very few players actually finished the game itself. Maybe this contributed to the fall in popularity and it becoming more of a cult classic game. Another aspect was that it looked like a cartoon, not like any other game at the time. So it looked like you were playing an actual movie. So I know that this has become more of a thing now. You have games which are more like an interactive story game. So something like, I'm going to bring it back to Life is Strange, but there was a narrative and you played that. This, I think, was quite revolutionary for its time. It was very different because even that doesn't even look like a proper movie. I mean, it looks good, but I'm going to try and think of something like, maybe was it Between Two Souls? The one where it was Ellen Page, I think, and Willem Dafoe was in it. That looked like a movie, but this was obviously an animated, like a hand-drawn animated movie that it looked like you were playing. It was a pretty cool game to look like it was playing. So Netflix has announced that it has bought the rights to the game, and Don Bluth has been brought on as a producer, and Ryan Reynolds is in talks to play Dirk. So this is a very happy sentence for me. Love Ryan Reynolds. Love Don Bluth. We're going to see how this goes. They have stated it will be a live action and not an animated movie. It's going to be interesting how they're going to achieve this. Unless it's going to be like a Jumanji approach, where Reynolds will get stuck in a game and has to memorize all the crazy gameplay sequences or continuously die. It is a little disheartening to hear it's not going to be an animation, as that is what Bluth is best known for, having been previously an animator for Disney, before branching out on his own and creating some of the most beautiful pieces of animation in movie history. Now, his company eventually, I think, did go bust, or it was bought out by somebody else. But, for the time, it created beautiful, beautiful pieces of animation. But there is more good news than bad here. With actually Dan and Kevin Hageman, they've been brought on for the script. And they were the genius behind the Lego Movie, which had monumental success. And I think that many of us have Everything is Awesome still stuck in our heads forevermore. I think, did it win the Oscar? I can't remember. It was up there for one of the, I think it was up for an Oscar, that song. But, this is pretty much the one story this week that I was genuinely really, really happy about. At the moment, it's a bit of a struggle to find stories with regards to gaming, but this is a pretty amazing one for me. Tommy's talked about a lot in the past about how games meant a lot to him as a kid. For me, movies meant a lot to me as a kid. Now, obviously, there's the Disney movies, but I mean, some of my most favorite movies of all time, things like The Secret of NIMH, Land Before Time. I've not watched Land Before Time for a fair few years because it's just such an emotional movie for me. But same with An American Tail. I think that was actually directed by Steven Spielberg, Spielberg was a producer for that. But I really love Don Bluth movies. I even like the not so popular ones, like, as if you just kind of like fall into things like The Troll in Central Park and The Pebble and the Penguin. If you just don't think about it too much, you can enjoy those. And Thumbelina is still one of my most favorite movies of all time. I don't care how cheesy it is. It's got the same voice actress as the voice actress for Thumbelina is the same voice actress for The Little Mermaid. So I don't care. You hate me if you want. I still love those movies. But I have seen people try and play this game. I've seen the Game Grumps trying to play Dragon's Lair. And it is a hellish game to try. Looks like an absolute hellish game to try and play because they just kept dying. I think they eventually did finish it. But if you're going to think of probably one person that's going to be good as Dirk the Daring, it is going to be Ryan Reynolds, and I really hope that he is actually going to be in it, and that is who he's going to be playing. It's going to be interesting watching this as a live action movie, because that does give me a bit of apprehension, because as we've seen, there's been some really bad live action movies based on video games. Let's not bring up the Mario Brothers movie again. However, because the way in which Dragon's Lair was made, it was made to be more of a movie, I think it was, from what I remember the gameplay, it was more of a movie. It was more story driven, and yes, you had Dirk kind of going through chambers in a castle, and yes, that was very much more of a game aspect, but the entire narrative, I think, was more of a movie than an actual game. So I think this is going to be maybe the one that's going to break the mold, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. Or I'm just going to be serially disappointed again. I have the same kind of joy in my heart as I did when I found out that M. Night Shyamalan was going to be making Avatar: The Last Airbender into a live-action movie, and the absolute atrociousness that it was when it was actually released, and it was nothing like the television series at all. And they missed out characters, oh god, it was absolutely diabolical. Dev Patel was very good in that. I think it was Dev Patel. Was probably the best thing about that movie, and everything else was just absolutely diabolical. So I'm hoping this is not going to have the same kind of situation. This hat was made into a limited television series, I think in the 80s. It was made into an animated TV show, but it was cancelled. A few years ago, Don Bluth tried to get crowdfunding for this to be made into a animated movie, but that fell by the wayside within about a few months. So we shall see. We shall see. And I'll stop talking about it now, because I bet you guys are fed up of me talking about Dragon's Lair and Don Bluth. And in all honesty, how about this as a challenge? During this time, go watch every Don Bluth film ever made. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of Pep. Tell me what you think of Troll in Central Park and Thumbelina. I'm laughing because I know what they're like. And you guys don't, if you've not seen them. But in all honesty, Secret of NIMH and Land Before Time and American Tail. American Tail 2 is pretty good, but it's not as good as the first one. If you want to know what American Tail is, it's about, I think it's about a Russian mouse family that go to America because they don't believe any cats live in America. It's really good. Most of these movies are musicals, by the way. Yeah. What do you think about that? American Tail 2 has John Cleese as a cat. That's interesting. But yeah, sorry, I'll stop talking about Don Bluth now. I'll stop talking about movies. So that's all I have to say this week, and I hope I've not dulled you with Don Bluth stuff. Sorry. This is what happens when I've got don't have Tommy here to kind of like keep it game based, and I drift into the movie and television world. Sorry about that. Actually, I'm not sorry. Let's talk about something different for a change. Let's talk about something completely different on a gaming channel. So if you've liked what you've heard, you can like this video, you subscribe to our channel. I'm getting another microphone soon, which will hopefully I'll be able to record some PC games. Yes, I was going to play some PC games, and that's not happened because I still can't see because my monitor is blurry as heck. It's a television. It's not a real PC monitor. So yeah. So yeah, that's why I've not been playing PC games. So yeah, you can subscribe to our channel, you can hit the like button, you can hit that notification button for when we upload. You can leave a comment down below. Come on guys, let's leave some comments of games we're going to be playing. Leave a comment on if you've ever watched a Don Bluth movie. What's your favourite Don Bluth movie ever? Let me know. Please. I still have no idea which my favourite movie is. It's got to be Thumbelina. It's so cheesy. It is so cheesy, but it's good. There's a fairy prince. He gets frozen. There's a frog. No, it's a toad. There's some kind of like beetle creature. It's really interesting. I've never read Thumbelina, but I doubt this is anything like it. Except there's a small girl, like about 3-4 inches high. That's what it's about. There's also a swallow. All the music for Thumbelina was actually written by... what was his name? Oh, that's going to annoy me. Barry Manilow. That's it. He wrote, and I think he also wrote all the music for Pebble and the Penguin. Go watch that. Go watch a movie, and it has, I think, Martin Short, is it? American comedian. He plays the voice of the main penguin. If you are a I'm trying to remember now, Tim Curry fan. If you like Tim Curry, go watch Pebble and the Penguin. He's the best. Any movie that's technically bad is made 10 times better. It is saved by the fact that Tim Curry is in it. Yeah, comment down below. Talk about how much I drone on about trivial things. You can also email us. You can email Tommy, get Abigail to stop talking about movies at gmail.com. Overshadow.shadowcast@gmail.com. So hopefully that's it. We also have a Facebook page, but we're not utilizing it. It's overshadow.shadowcast. If there's any stories you'd like me to talk about next week, comment that. That'd be great. And I think that's it for me. Hopefully. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me just check. Yep, that's it. Okay, so thanks you guys for listening, and I hope you guys are all staying safe, stay well, and, we're going to get through this. There is light at the end of the tunnel. I see people in China are starting to kind of like go back out in the streets again. It's not a great time to have the news on 24/7. I've had to stop doing that because it'll just get to you. Maybe watch the news for maybe half an hour in the morning and then watch the update in the evening, and then the rest of the time don't have the news on. Have something else on. Play some games or go out for your once a day allowance. If you're listening to this in the UK. That's my recommendation. Don't watch the news all the time because it'll just get you down. But I hope you guys are well. Hope everybody's okay. Stay safe. Stay inside. And I don't know if it'll be me or Tommy next week. I honestly don't know. But whoever it is, I hope you have a good time. Hope you enjoy listening next week. Okay, bye-bye.